All right, well, episode 14 of the fabtcg Vodcast.
Yeah.
I love that we're still using this name.
It's a great name. I came up with it.
Technically speaking, I guess we have changed names after like episode some odd, in which it became the Kvodcast from the Pvodcast.
Right. Well, that's just because Commoner became a thing and Popper.
And then that commoner died and became a new thing.
Yeah, I guess. But they didn't change the name.
That's true. That's true. But what we'll be doing this week, last week we looked at the small sampling of really cool new cards we got from Classic Battles, and this week we're going to be looking at presumably a lot more cards that we get.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I will be very sad if that's not the case, but...
This could be a very short episode.
That's true.
That would be the reason.
But yeah, we're looking at the new cards with Uprising, and that's 3 classes that were introduced. Well, they're not really introduced, they're all returning classes, but we have a new Illusionist, new Ninja, and new Wizard, in the sense that it's not a new Wizard for everyone who doesn't play Commoner, but for Commoner, it's a new Wizard. But yeah, we're just going to go through all the commons. I guess we may look at rares if there's any rare equipment. I kind of doubt it. They usually print it at common or majestic for the next ones, but
Of course.
you know, if there are some rares, we'll look at those too, I guess. But yeah, so starting off, it looks like we're starting with the Draconic Illusionist. And I guess that's true. That's one new thing too. There's an Ice Wizard, and then there's a bunch of Draconic heroes.
Yep.
So it's kind of like Shadow and Light, were their own unique things. Draconic is its own unique thing. I just don't think it has the quite like versus element that like Light and Shadow had.
No.
Unless it has some verses with Ice that we find out later. But
It's weird that they're both Draconic, but one of them's based on the Phoenix.
yes. It's also weird too that they're both Draconic, but they're against each other.
Yep.
Because I believe, having not deep dived into the lore, but I believe that this is like the Nation of Volcor, and there's an uprising happening right now, hence the name of the set, and it's the Ninja, or Dromai represents, the Illusionist represents the government, and the Ninja is the rebellion, I think.
Seems right, I guess.
Knock on wood.
Yep.
Except I won't, because that would sound terrible on the audio. But we get to start with the Illusionist, and this is a really weird way that this is laid out. I think everything has been spoiled now, but this is starting with commons, and usually they go from like legendaries, majestics down. So unless there's just not a legendary or majestic Draconic Illusionist thing, oh, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's it's either Draconic legendary majestic weapon, or it's like an Illusionist legendary majestic weapon, and this is the ones that are both.
Okay.
That might be why.
Could be.
All right, so
I
let's
mean,
see.
Very welcoming to Illusionists at the very least.
That is true. That is true.
Not us, though.
Yep, nope. As I scroll past all of these cool cards, presumably, that we don't get. Man, that is so many dragons. That's so many dragons.
That is a lot of
1,
dragons.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh man, they do have a rare dragon. And we don't get that one.
Yep.
8. Oh my god, there's so many dragons. 9. 10, 11. Do we get a dragon? Wait. No. Is this connected to this? Son of a gun. So close. So close. Alright, well let's look at the Illusionist first. So, right off the bat, you pitch a red card, you create an Ash token, and if you've played a red card this turn, dragons you control have go again while attacking.
What if you don't have dragons?
Well, you know, that sucks. But here's the thing, we do have dragons. Because well, we'll get to that later.
Okay.
But the Ash things are dragons.
Right.
So this does work on them. And then otherwise, 4 cards in hand, 20 health. Usual. Nothing special there. There is a lot of red strip matter stuff in the Draconic cards.
Okay.
From what I've seen, of the very brief little bits and tidbits I've seen. I don't know how much of that'll be in Commoner, but that's why this is all like red based. Now, it is worth noting all of our dragons will have Phantasm. And as this card helpfully reminds us, if an attacking dragon dies before the Chainlink resolution, you don't go again. But I think the idea, we'll see once we see the rest of the common cards how well it sports that, but I think the idea with her is you just build like a dragon army and just swing a billion times every turn. It's like Kadachi on steroids, I think, is what she'll end up being.
Okay.
Where you just look to play a red card and then just Kadachi Dragon.
Just send out a wave of baby dragons.
Man, now I want my own little token altar for the Aether Ashlings and just call it Kadachi Dragon. And it's just a picture of a Kadachi with wings. Because I'm getting ahead of myself here, but I believe they all swing for one. Okay. And that's why they're Kadachis. Alright, so that's the Draconic Illusionist, and so she gets Illusionist cards and she gets Draconic cards. No surprise there. Draconic Illusionist weapon. This gives dragon allies you control once per turn action, 0 cost attack. Because the Aether Dragons can't attack on their own. Right. This gives them the ability to attack.
Okay.
Which the only downside with this is that means basically if you're playing Dromai, you have to use this weapon.
Isn't there a card that destroys weapons and equipment? Or is it just equipment?
There's stuff that destroys equipment. I don't know if it destroys weapons.
Okay.
That would be brutal. Mm-hmm. That would be brutal. And this is a two-handed weapon, so sucks to be Dromai, you don't get to have the Arcane Lantern.
Nope. Unless...
You go no weapon? Yeah.
No Dragon Illusionist.
Oh, and then here we get to our first reference to Aether Ashwings. You know what? All right. We're talking about it too much. Let's find an Aether Ashwing. Oh, there is a common printing of it. You can get a cold foil Aether Ashwing? I mean, like, I know it's just a token or common, but man, that'd be so sweet. So, this is the Aether Ashwings, in which the deck is built. Swings for 1, has 1 health. It has Arcane Barrier, which is really sweet. I guess that's true. I was laughingly saying she can't use the Arcane Lantern, but would she?
I guess
she
not.
could just make a horde of Arcane Barrier dragons. Mm-hmm. Which, on reflection, man, this really sucks to try to play Wizard in Limited, doesn't it? And you run against the Dromai, and it's like, okay, I absorb all of the damage you do.
Well, you have to pay for it still.
I mean, that's true, but it's very possible for them to absorb 7 points of arcane damage completely. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this is the thing, but as you notice, it has 1 power, 1 health, but it doesn't have any way to attack. So the Scepter gives the Aether Ashwing a way to attack. Now, also, too, we don't see any Phantasm on here, which I mentioned, but I think the next card mentions why. Okay, so you can instant speed destroy the gloves and transform a target Ash you control into an Aether Ashwing. And what that means is you create an Aether Ashwing token and then you put the Ash under it. And Ash says anything it's under has Phantasm.
Okay.
So that's why the attacks have Phantasm. I wonder if you can put Ash under a weapon and then in that way destroy it by blocking with something with 6 power more. This is just such a great set for the Brute. The Brute loves this.
Do you mean someone else's weapon?
Well, I mean, yeah, in theory. There's ways to put Ash under other people's stuff.
Interesting.
I'm pretty sure I've seen that. Although I don't know if those cards that I saw were common. That was like the first day of things that they revealed.
That's dirty. No pun intended.
Oh, and then that's what oh wait, hang on. Oh, that's really neat. Okay, so this is another piece of equipment like Bone Vizier, where you get both sides of it. Because it has this quell at the bottom, and it's just if your opponent would be dealt damage, you may pay 1 to prevent one of that damage. And if you do, you destroy this at the end of the turn, or at the end phase. So you can quell, and then...
then use the instant?
Yeah, and then use the instant. And you can actually pay for quell multiple times then.
Interesting.
And it prevents any kind of damage. So you can use that for physical damage. You can use that for non-specified damage. So it's like a runaway on steroids. That's actually really cool. And then, yeah, you can do that. And then before it goes to the end phase, you crack it for the instant. And transform Ash into an Aether Ashwing. Okay, this is some pretty sweet gloves.
And you were complaining.
Well, it's like, well, yeah, but they already have illusionist gloves. Why couldn't this be like a common illusionist, like boots, chest piece, hat? You know? Although it is Draconic Illusionist, right. So it's not like Prism was ever going to get this anyways.
No,
because they hate old heroes.
It just means that she won't use the the generic version. Because why would she
Yeah,
choose
yeah. I
anything
mean,
else
she's not
other
going to
than
use
this?
the illusionist gloves, most likely. I mean, it is really good for removing phantasm from things, but I think Dromai is probably not going to care quite as much. If you are building her like Dragonstorm, where you're building a bunch of dragons, like, are you like removing phantasm from one of them is going to do so little for you. I feel, but and again, you're using it to protect 1 point of damage, so it's whereas like with Prism, you're using it to protect like 15 points of damage.
Right.
It's a little bit different. But yeah, this is neat. I like the idea of Quell. It's like a one-use arcane barrier, but it's way better than spell void, for example,
Yeah.
because this can prevent more than 1 point of damage. It's just you have to use it all on the turn you first use it. So that's really neat. I'm a fan of that. All right, so now we get into the actual the meat of the commoner cards. Dust Up, Embermaw. That's not what I would expect. Sweeping Blow is not what I would expect to be the name of an illusionist card. A ninja card, absolutely. Oh man, there is a lot. Oh yeah, I guess I could have shown the ash, what it does. Yep, that's all it does.
Okay, so once you have the Aether Ash Wings, and they all have Phantasm,
Because the ash will be under them.
but they only swing for 1.
Yep.
But if you block with a card with 6 or more
Power breaks it.
Okay.
The big reason you do that is that if you've played a red card this turn, they'll all have go again. So then you do that in the start of the chain, and it prevents all the other ones from swinging.
Yeah.
Which you definitely do if you're a brute player. All right, first illusionist attack. Yeah. Okay. See, and this is why we get lots of Aether Ash Wings, because it's not just the gloves that'll do it, but like you could.
Right.
The beauty here is this has go again right off the bat. This is fantastic. I love this. This is how you build Dragonstorm. Because you go Billowing Mirage for turn, and then you can transform one ash you control into an Aether Ashwing. And then this has go again, so that you can follow up with the Aether Ashwings. And since you've played a red card for this this red Billowing Mirage, they're all going to have go again. And so then you just Dragonstorm. Now, this does not have Phantasm. So this is actually an illusionist attack that does not have Phantasm. Even better, it's harder to break it. I love this. Oh man, I'm already excited for Dragonstorm.
Dunebreaker Senpai.
It's actually pretty close. Okay, fairly standard illusionist attack. And then when this is destroyed, you create an ash token. So I think there's a number of things that create ash tokens like this. So you have a pile of ash, and that's why the other ones turn the ash into things.
Right.
Because otherwise the ash just sits there doing nothing, like in this case. But, yeah. Another illusionist attack. This one also has go again. I have a feeling this is going to be a trend we see. The difference being, too, though, that this one does actually have Phantasm, so you can break this one.
Hits for 5, but it only costs 1. That's pretty decent.
That is pretty good. The other one was pretty low with the, 1 and 3 power, for an illusionist attack anyways, but that one didn't have Phantasm, so that's probably why. Whoop. Almost got rid of that. Oh, and then this one's just an on-hit, you transform Ash into... you create an Ash token, and then transform up to one Ash you control.
Okay.
That's sweet. The downside here is this does not have go again. So you probably can't follow up with the Drake attacking unless you do something else. Nice thing is this costs 0, so I think we're seeing a Snapdragon Scalers deck in the work here. I love this. I mean, it doesn't seem like super broken because the Ashwings are just Kodachis, but it seems like a good mid-range deck because you spend the early game building up this Ashwing horde that gets bigger and bigger over time, and then you're just eventually you're swinging for 8 with Ashwings every turn.
Okay, so this is like the other Senpai card. It's just that it costs 2 and it hits for 8.
Yep. Oh, and it doesn't have go again.
Yes, it doesn't have go again.
But it hits a lot harder.
And I know it's not pronounced Senpai.
But it's way funnier though. Okay, I love this. This is another good way to do things because We're seeing a lot of great ways to turn Ash into Ashwings, but we still need a lot of ways to make Ash. And this is an awesome way to start your chain off because it's a red card with Go Again, only costs 1, and it'll create extra Ash. So,
Yep.
Again, though, I don't know why this is an illusionist thing. Sweeping Blow is such a ninja name. But, okay.
Well, you know, because you're sweeping dust.
True. Oh, there we go. Oh. So you create an Ash token and then transform up to 3 Ash you control into Aether Ashwings. I'm telling you. Dragon Storm.
Yeah.
Dragon Storm. Also red. Go
And
again.
Go Again, yep.
Perfect.
It's just that it's an action.
Yep.
Which is fine. And it blocks for 2, but...
The biggest problem I see with these decks is that, like, for this one, especially since you need to play a red card in order to, let's look back at Dromai. You need to play a red card in order to give your dragons Go Again. You're going to have to be red heavy. Oh, and this one's also, too, when you pitch a red card, you create an Ash token. So she, in and of herself, is an Ash production machine.
Mm-hmm.
Like Viscerai, it's like, all you have to do is pitch a red card, and you're just going to be like, Ash, 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 Ash. So, yeah, that's... Yeah. But you're going to be, like, a mostly red card deck. So, like, probably those 2-cost attacks are going to be a little bit hard to run.
Yeah.
You may run them just to have more red cards. That's what I could see. Because...
Is it for each red card, or each time...
Whenever you pitch a red card, create an
Okay,
Ash token.
So you pitch 2 red cards for that 1/2
Yeah.
attack, and you get 2 Ash. Plus
And then so
whatever
long
it
as you've
gives you.
played a red card this turn, the dragons gain going.
Yeah.
So, but that means, like, the only problem here is you're going to have to be very red heavy, which
Yep.
means there's only so many cards you can put in that are red pip. Kind of like the issue we were having with Brute, where we were looking for yellow cards that had 6 or more power, and there's a
Right.
very limited pool.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be like, you need a lot of red cards, so... But, like, this one's pretty sweet, because if you pitch a red card and rake the Embers with Dromai, you're going to create 2 Ash, and then be able to transform them all into Aether Ashwings right
Yep.
then. So, that's pretty sweet. Whoa. Oh, this is disgusting. This costs 0.
Yep,
with Go
costs
Again.
0.
And
Go
it's
Again.
red.
It boosts an Aether Ashwing after it
Yep.
creates it, just till the end of turn.
Now, the only thing is, it does boost the one it transforms, so if you don't have Ash to transform,
Right.
this will be unfortunate.
Well, you obviously would not play it,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Yeah. But this is, without a doubt, the best way to start off a Dragonstorm turn is just Skittering Sands, transform it, swing with that one, swing with the team. Gross. I love it. And Sand Cover. Did they really add...
I think they had Ward before.
Did they have Ward before?
Yeah, the
This is very
majestic...
different from Ward in Magic, so I'm not going to complain too much.
The majestic Guardian.
Oh, see, that's why I don't remember it.
Yeah. I vaguely remember.
Target Ash you control gains Ward 4 until end of turn. If your hero would be dealt damage, prevent 4... Oh, and destroy this. That's why it's giving the Ash Ward 4. Okay. I mean, I don't hate it. I mean, it's probably not awful. I guess you would run some number of these.
It's an instant.
Just to make sure. I'm pretty sure this is true. If you've played a red card this turn. So this doesn't care about non-attack, or it doesn't have to be an action.
Right.
So this does work with Dragonstorm.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, you'd probably run the 2 red ones. Unless there's better stuff that we're going to find later on, but... I mean, it's a nice way to prevent... And the nice thing is, it's a 0 cost that stops 4 damage, essentially, so... It's kind of like a defense reaction at that point.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Although, it's not.
Yeah. I mean, the downside is you have to have Ash to use this, and
Right.
you have to lose that Ash. But in theory, you can, like, on a Dominate attack, block 3 and then ward 4, and you've effectively blocked 7. So it's kind of like a red defense reaction, but
Right.
I think it's more playable in this one because, like, defense reaction you can only play as a defense reaction, whereas this you can always play at the start of your turn, and even if you don't use the ward 4, who cares? You just allowed your dragons to storm off.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, then that's all the Draconic Illusionist stuff that we get to play with. I'm so annoyed that there actually is rare dragons and we just don't get them. That's so rude. It's so close to letting us have these. So then this just turns an ash into that. Attacks or leaves the arena, gain 1 action point. That's rude. And these would all have Phantasm as well, because they do all transform ash.
Right.
So close to having more dragons. That's so sad. Alright, Draconic Ninja. Boom. Oh yeah, and the ninja is gloves too.
Of course.
Because, we're rude like that. Oh, I think it's a Draconic card. Oh, there are still some unknowns. They haven't spoiled everything yet. What? This was originally supposed to... Oh, there's a bunch of Elemental Wizard stuff missing. Alright, well, there'll be some more things that come out after this, I guess.
Yep.
I'm surprised by that, because originally this was supposed to release in, as of filming, 3 days. Although, I think the US launch has been delayed a week.
Why?
I don't know. Because they hate us. I don't know.
I guess we are far away.
Yeah, that's true.
Far
That's true.
away.
All right, Draconic Ninja.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the big discussions happen.
Right.
So right off the bat, in all fairness, one thing that he has over other ninjas is he gets to play Draconic cards, and none of the other ninjas get to play Draconic cards.
Right.
20 health, 4 cards in hand, not too bad. And then his abilities are that you can start the game with a Phoenix Flame in your graveyard, and once per turn instant, you can pay 3, return a Phoenix Flame from your graveyard to your hand, and the ability costs 1 less for each Draconic Chain Link you control. So if you go Draconic card, Draconic card, Draconic card, you get the Phoenix Flame for free.
Right.
And, yes, just want to make sure. And to make clear here, you bring a Phoenix Flame from your graveyard to your hand. Which means that if you then swing with that Phoenix Flame and it goes back to your graveyard, you can bring it back from the graveyard and just keep doing this rinse repeat, or blocking with it and rinse repeat. Actually, you can't block with it. I lied. But this is the Phoenix Flame. 0 cost, 0 power, but if you control 2 or more Draconic Chain Links, it has +1. So
if you've paid for it...
Yes. If you've paid for it to bring it from your graveyard, this will swing for 1. The downside is if you have this in your hand and not in your graveyard, and you don't have Draconic Chain Links, it does nothing.
Yep.
But you can always swing with it for 0 with Go Again to get rid of it, I suppose. And it does have Go Again, cost 0. That's all nice. There are problems with this. And let me just make sure there wasn't like a second copy of Phoenix Flame at the bottom here, right?
I mean, it could be that.
Yeah, it could be this. It would not shock me if that was the case. Only because I'm wondering if what we haven't seen is the stuff from the pre-con decks. Which, if that's the case, like if what we haven't seen is the pre-con cards, that could be the pre-con slot, this Phoenix Flame and then pre-con Phoenix Flame.
Okay.
Who knows? But the problem with that is that this is a token.
Yep.
And we are playing Commoner. And
tokens are not commons unless they're heroes or weapons.
So looking at the Commoner rules here, we have 11 inventory slots, weapons and equipment, can include up to 2 rares, and all other cards must be common. And then it says this, token weapons are common. 1 young hero card can be rare or common. Token heroes are common. 40 card deck, no more, no less, can only include common cards. Now, you'll notice here it doesn't say anything like token cards are considered common.
Right.
So Cracked Bauble, for example, is not a card you could put in your deck because it's not... Actually, I think I'm lying. I think you can put Cracked Bauble in your deck. I totally forgot. I think it was printed as a common in Crucible. I think the Rainbow Foil version is a common. But if that's not the case, you wouldn't be able to put Baubles in your deck. And then there's nothing down here that says anything about token cards being common cards. And so when we go to the release notes for Uprising, we have Phoenix Flame listed here. And we have Phoenix Flame is considered a card. can be included in the deck, and counts towards the number of cards in that deck. Then we have some limited stuff there, but then in non-limited formats, the number of Phoenix Flames a player can add to their deck is determined by the format rules, e.g. 2 in Blitz Constructed and 3 in Classic Constructed.
Well, what about Commoner?
Yes, what about Commoner? And I tweeted at them, and they did not answer my question.
Of course
so
they did.
we do not have a resolution on this yet. Strictly, and I'm not really sure if this is strictly reading the rules correctly, but in theory, Phoenix Flame says that you can include it in your deck and that it's considered a card rather than a token. But it's not said. It does not say it's considered a common.
Right.
So then, does it count as a common or does it count as a token? And in that case, in Commoner, are you not allowed to include it? Or does this just say that it's considered a card and you can include it in the deck, and that means any format? It's now just in that first sentence told that we can play this in any format. And then this just says that the number of cards is whatever it would be determined by the format rules, in which case Commoner says 2 copies of any card can be included in your deck. So if this first rule overrides the whole common restriction, then we're fine. We get to put Phoenix Flames in our deck, and the Draconic Ninja has an ability.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably the way to take it. Probably.
I mean,
I think.
Until someone tells us otherwise.
Tell you what, viewers watching at home that are near a Grand Prix or whatever, like a battle hardened or calling in their area, sign up for one of their Commoner events, play Draconic Fae, put Phoenix Flames in your deck, and as soon as the first game starts, put 1 in your graveyard and then call a judge.
Yep.
And see what they say.
Yes. Causing trouble.
I feel bad for the judges that have to make this call. I think the fairest way to read this, and probably the most in like the spirit of the rules, is that this first line saying Phoenix Flame is considered a card and can be included in the deck overwrites the common only part. That this just says any deck can include Phoenix Flames in it.
You should also tweet it out before you do it. That way you cause more chaos.
True. And then a cool thing for the limited side for people who play sealed is that you can include up to 3 Phoenix Flames in your deck. Like it says that on the Phoenix Flame, a player may add up to 3 Phoenix Flame to their deck in an Uprising limited format. That means if you don't pull Phoenix Flame tokens, you can still add 3 Phoenix Flames to your deck. Like to your card pool.
Right.
And it's also worth noting that, although I think tokens don't count as a part of your card pool, like normally.
Right.
So I think that means that at max you have 3 Phoenix Flames in your deck. I don't think you can be like, well, I opened 3 packs, or in this case, I opened 5 packs and I opened 5 Phoenix Flames, and this says I can add 3 more to my card pool and then put 8 Phoenix Flames in your deck.
No.
I don't think that's the case. Even though normally in Sealed, if you opened 5 copies of one card, you could put 5 copies in your deck. I don't think this gets around that. But yeah, this is the big controversial, if we want to call it, or just confusing part of Fae and Commoner, is that I don't know if you get to put these in your deck. I think you do.
I mean, it's only complicated because they ignore us.
Yes. I mean, like, and to be fair, like, nothing about this card seems broken. So, like,
right.
I think it's fair to assume you can put it in. It's just, it is what it is, and you could probably put this in your Illusionist deck, too, in that case. It does work in Illusionist as well, because it is just a Draconic card. And let me just see really quick. Yeah, and Aether Ashwings are considered Draconic. So, in theory, you can put Phoenix Flames in your Dromai deck. It is a red card. It costs 0. Yep. It has Go Again, so you can play this for no power as the start of your turn to trigger all your dragons. Or if you've already triggered your dragons, you can go Dragon Attack, Phoenix Flame, Dragon Attack, and yeah. Tons of damage. This will only do 1 damage, though. So it's still just Kadachiing.
Yes, using rebellion against themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Splinter.
But yeah, so that's Fae. I I'm actually more excited about this than I was previously, because I thought, because most times you see this, that would be the case. I thought some part of this once per turn instant or playing the Phoenix Flames would banish them. But no, this is just repeatable.
Yep.
And it is just a Kodachi, but, it's a repeatable, I feel like fairly easy to make free Kodachi. Yeah. Maybe not.
It makes sense, though, in the lore of a Phoenix, though.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But yeah, that's the ninja. That's Faye. Now getting back into the other stuff that comes with him, a two-handed sword because of reasons. So this does gain Go again if you control 2 or more Draconic chains.
Okay.
And in theory, does Kodachi cost 1 to swing?
Yes.
It does, right? Like it's not 0 to swing.
No.
So in theory, this does more damage than 2 Kodachis. Let's look up the Kodachi. I think you're right.
The Kodachi does cost 1. I was just wondering.
And the 0 part is just to
I was wondering if there was something that would make it cost 0, but I don't think there is.
I don't think so. There may be.
What was Benji?
That's the one that makes it unblockable, and then it boosts your next attack.
Okay.
Yeah. So this, in theory, if you can do 2 or more Draconic chain links before it, will do more than 2 Kodachis would, because it'll do 1 more point of damage and still have Go again.
Yep.
The thing is, you just have to have 2 or more Draconic chain links to gain Go again. And in theory, this is kind of better if you're in the late game and you have no cards in hand, because you could just, as long as you have something to pitch to swing with this, you're swinging for 3 instead of 1 with a single Kodachi. The big upside for this, that would make it probably better than Kodachi, is that this is a Draconic weapon, and thus counts as a Draconic chain link.
Oh, okay.
So it does help for triggering things like Phoenix Flame, etc. Although, since it doesn't have Go again, if you don't have 2 links before it, I don't know if that really matters. Because the Phoenix Flame needs 2 links or more to gain +1. And this needs 2 or more to have Go again. Right. So if you're using this as link 2, your Phoenix Flame will have +1, but you also won't have any more action points, so who cares? But I could see that mattering, that it does count as a Draconic chain link. I suppose you could go chain link, then Searing Emberblade, then free Phoenix Flame out of your graveyard and play it. So I think there's a non-zero
and then do
case like
2 more chain links and then free it again. Or no, it's 3, isn't it?
I think it's once per turn infinite. Is that what it is? I don't think you go infinite, right? That would be too broken. Yeah, it's once per turn instant. So you can only return something once. Because otherwise you just go infinite.
That's too bad.
In theory. Well, okay.
I like infinite loops.
I guess you wouldn't go infinite because the Phoenix Flame wouldn't go into the graveyard until the chain ends.
Oh, that's true.
So then you'd have to be able to trigger it again on a new link. But it is once per turn regardless, so...
Unless you have something that makes you discard
So the important thing is if you have 2 Phoenix Flames in your graveyard... If you have 2 Phoenix Flames in your graveyard, you can only get 1 back each turn. Faye makes my brain hurt. Alright, and then new gloves.
Okay, so your Kodachi gets +1.
Yes. And again, this is another one where, in theory, you can get both ends of it.
Yep.
You're not really going to in this case, though. Because the other gloves just turned Ash into an Ashwing, which you don't really care when you do that. You can do that at any point, and then use it the next turn.
You can only do both of these.
The instant is only really going to do something on your turn, and the Quell is only going to really do something on your opponent's turn. There are some cards that get around that, but I don't know if any of them are in commoner.
Right.
There are defense reactions that deal damage, in which case you could quell those, but I don't think there are any in commoner. So... yeah, and Quell only triggers when you can't Quell ahead of time to pay for damage that's coming.
Right.
I don't know why I was even thinking about that. I was wondering if you could use it to pay for blood debt, but no blood debt hero can use these, so it doesn't really matter. I was trying to think of any situation in which you could Quell an instant on the same turn, but Unless we find something later on in the set that will matter for, but
Or, later on in different sets, Blood
yes,
Debt gets
true.
pushed to the
There's
enemies
a
instead.
Draconic Shadow. That would be sweet, actually. A Draconic Shadow hero.
Uh-huh.
That'll be Chain Part 2 when it gets Living Legended.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Alright, so there we go. There's that. I really wonder if we'll see a common Phoenix Flame, because that would make the answer a lot easier.
Yep.
That's why I was excited when I saw this Aether Ashwing. I was hoping we were going to find a Phoenix Flame later on.
Right. If there is
because that one's printed at common.
Yeah, if there is a common version, then don't do what we said before. Don't make trouble for your judges or tweet out.
Yeah. Well, and then it doesn't matter. Then it's easy for them.
Yeah, I'm just,
What I love about this is that this is printed at common rarity, but it says token here.
Yep.
That's what prevents you from putting it into your deck. That's the one nice thing, I guess. Probably why they did it. That's cool that it's double-sided cold foil. What's on the other side, I wonder?
Ash?
Yeah, that's why I wonder if it's like a cold foil double side. Oh yeah, is there? Oh yeah, maybe it is this. You're right. That probably is that. This is the card. Because this is also listed as cold foil and printed at common.
Right.
So you are probably right. This is probably the card.
Unless it's the unknown card here.
Yeah, it could be. Because there are two here. I really wonder if these are from the Blitz deck. That's what I wonder. Because they haven't revealed those deck lists yet, I feel like. Although I think those would normally be in their own separate category. I don't know. Alright, so look at FA. Get through the rares. Alright. Get to the commons. Because we don't care about any of these. Rares, majestics, legendaries.
Money.
Yeah. Lame. Nobody likes that. On reflection, just quickly looking at these cards as I'm opening them, none of them feature the word combos. So maybe it's fine that we're getting a new common ninja gloves when the other one just pumped combo attacks.
Yeah.
And the one unfortunate thing with Faye is that we're seeing a lot of Draconic chain links matter, which means that he may not benefit from the millions of ninja cards that come before him.
I guess.
Because the more of those you run, the less likely you're able to pay off your Phoenix Flames or your
Unless
Searing
you
Blade.
play this card.
Oh, you are right. I did not even read the card that was on the screen. you are correct. Yep, that would do it. Yep. Your next attack this combat chain is Draconic. That's interesting. I mean, the one nice thing is, like, this is already a good card on its own. It's a 0 cost, go again, 3 power. That's Draconic. So, I don't know how relevant it will be, but it's definitely not a bad thing. You probably are going to run this in your ninja deck.
It means that you could use a Kendachi in your deck instead.
You are actually correct. You are definitely correct. That would turn your Kodachis into Draconic. Draconic Kodachis.
There's really no benefit other than only having to pay 1 instead of 2.
Yeah, I also don't know how likely it is to give your Kodachis go again.
Yeah,
in this
you'd have to
deck.
depend on that card,
because it does
which you only get twice.
Well, also too, the Kodachis need 0 costs in your pitch zone to gain go again.
That's true.
And there's a ton of those in regular Ninja, but we don't know how much there is in Draconic Ninja if you're having to go heavily Draconic. This one's not, but the last card was. Okay, so this one requires a certain number of chain links to... Yeah, so what I'm seeing here is that I think Faye does have to go very heavily into Draconic and not get to use too many of the previous Ninja cards.
Yep. This one's kind of a... I feel like... I don't know. How easy do you think that would be to get 2 chain links before playing this? I guess we'll find out.
I mean, it seems like it's going to be easy, because, like, Faye doesn't care about red.
Right.
Faye can use multiple copies. So, like, that last card, you could run all 3 copies of that.
That's true.
And that's 6 right
thinking
there.
Of that.
So there's that right off the bat, which would help. Is this better or worse than Soul Beat Strike? Maybe this is a little bit easier to pull off than Soul Beat Strike. Does Soul Beat cost 1 or 0?
I think it's 1.
Is it? I can't remember. Soul Beat Strike. No, it's 0.
Oh, it is 0. Okay.
And then it has to hit to gain go again.
Right.
I think... that's why you're running it. That's why you're running it, because it works with Katsu.
So, when this changes color, does it just change the damage? Or
Yeah.
does it also change
I think
how
so.
many
I don't think it changes
chain
the number
links?
of links. I'm going off that assumption. Let's just make sure.
Yeah.
Looks
Yeah.
like it. Usually, if there's something that changes, there's like some sort of highlight on the card for it.
Okay.
Usually. So I was just assuming that wasn't the case, but you're right. Definitely something
Just wasn't 100% sure.
which, on reflection, just to prove that concept too. So this one is only Ward 2 on the blue, but it is in bold.
Yeah.
So
Okay, I see. I didn't pick that up before.
I didn't either. I'm glad you mentioned some so we could even look at that. Although with Dromai it's so red dependent that I don't know that you'd ever run it, but it's good to see it regardless.
Mm-hmm.
You might run like the other colors of like Rake the Embers because that's the one that makes like a bunch of dragons.
Yeah.
Although it probably makes less. It probably is like the blue is one dragon, right? Should have done this when we were talking about that one. Yeah, the blue one is one dragon. So it creates an Ash Token and then transforms a dragon. But still, like the yellow one creates two dragons. So I think you definitely would run at least the red and the yellow in that deck. But yeah, so this is just like a slightly more expensive Soul Beat Strike.
Okay.
But if you can consistently put that many Draconic Chain Links on, this is going to have Go Again more consistently than Soul Beat Strike.
Yes, I agree.
As you learned in the Dash Katsu game that has not come out yet, but okay, it seems reasonable.
Yep.
It costs 1 again, but 4 power is like exactly what you want in your reds because this is hard to block.
Yep. So,
It has
this
Go
is
Again.
like some of the combo cards for Ninja. It's just it
Yeah.
doesn't have combo.
Yeah, it just doesn't have combo, just normal Go Again cards.
Right.
And
It doesn't have a combo after it.
Yeah, the combo cards are the Phoenix Flames. Those are the combo cards.
Okay. Yeah.
So
So this is like a leg tap or
yeah, yep, just a higher damage output one, but it does cost 1.
It does block for 2.
Ooh, yeah.
I don't know if that's...
I think this is something they must be trying to do more now.
Yeah.
Where they're trying to punish people more for playing the really good greedy cards.
I guess.
Just like the brute ones from
Mhm.
Everfest that we totally missed. Don't block at all.
Yep. It's like mid-playing them, we're just
Yeah.
like,
Wait, I can't block any
I've
of
got
this.
3 cards in my hand that don't block. Oh,
What we learned is that the Red Rally, the rear guard, is so much more of a critical card to Brute than we ever thought it was.
Yep.
Because it just lets you turn non-blocking cards into blocking cards.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even just important for the Warrior/Dominate matchups. I love the artwork that they have in this set.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have a 0 cost. See, the problem is this is another one where it only gains Go Again if you're like farther into the chain. There's a lot of
Yep.
stuff. That's my big concern is that a lot of these require you to be 2 or more to get that. And so it's like, okay, but do we have enough to get to that point? I guess this probably is one of those things where all those ones that had Go Again automatically, those are your like 3 ofs.
Well,
where you have all colors.
I think they had combo cards that were a little similar to this, didn't they?
Yeah, they did have some, but like it just seemed very easy to pull off with Ninja because it was like, wasn't it Rising Knee Thrust gets Go Again if you've played a leg tap? But it's like any leg tap and then you Rising Knee Thrust or
Well,
something
yeah,
like that.
But I mean, I think there's one card that gets Go Again if you've played... I don't remember.
I don't remember. I just know that there's that a lot of these, like, the combos are just, like, 2-card combos, not like you have to go 3 deep. But they were a lot more specific combos.
Most of them are 2 deep, and I don't know if 3 deep, probably because they're more than... The rarity is higher.
That's what it was. Rising Knee Thrust gains Go Again if you've had leg tap, the last attack this combat chain. Which is, like, in some ways more specific, where you have to do them in this certain order, but it's also the second card in your chain, not the third.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these are all Whirling Mist Blossoms from Ira. Except they don't draw you cards, they just gain Go Again.
Right.
Which hers already had Go Again. You can start with Whirling Mist Blossom, and it'll at least have Go Again, you just won't draw cards. But 0 cost, 3 power, not bad.
Kendachi.
Blocks for 3. Okay. That's expensive, though.
Yeah, especially for a 5-power attack.
Yeah. I mean, so we're seeing a lot of Draconic chain links matter, and so you probably do run some number of these, but I feel like you probably just run the reds and maybe the blues. You're almost certainly not running the yellows at this point.
Yeah. You'd most
might not
likely
even run the
pitch
blues.
this.
Yeah.
Only
But
play it if
it's
you
a red,
had to.
so it doesn't pitch well.
Oh, that's true.
That's why I could see the blue making it too. Maybe you just run the blue and not the red.
Blue hits for 3.
Yeah, and pitches for 3. That is a lot of words.
Yep.
I see right off the bat this already has go again though and cost 0. Banish attack action card with your hand. Oh.
Okay.
Okay. So with the previous card, yeah, with dead silence,
Yeah.
for like 30 seconds.
I had to read it twice.
It's a novel. Yeah. So what it does then is when you play this or when it hits. Oh, that's important. So it has to hit.
Okay.
So you probably don't want to count on it per se.
Yeah, because the red is only 3.
Yes.
That's tough.
Yeah. But if you hit, you can banish something and play it for free, which a lot of these cards are free, but a lot of them cost like 1. So as long as this is like Chain Link 1 and it hits, all those 1 costs would go again. They're now free, which is sweet. And then if this is the second one on your chain, that 2 costs we just saw, that's free.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it does only swing for 3, so your opponent might not want to block it, but they're probably going to block this. So you're probably not going to get the first half all that
Or
often.
you could swing big with your first couple attacks, then play this, and then swing even bigger.
Yeah, I guess,
Provided they
in
don't
theory.
block all of it.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing here is like I'm saying like you're probably never going to get that first half of the card, but
Yeah.
a 0 cost 3 power with go again is already kind of what this deck wants. So
Yep.
you're still going to run it. And I mean, if they don't block, you're going to do some sweet things.
So essentially, you're forcing them to block.
Yeah, which is valuable in and of itself.
It is. If they don't block, you get something. Maybe.
Probably. Or you banish another 0 cost and
Yep.
play it for 0 like it would have anyways. But, you know.
Yes, I'm going to play Rising Resentment from my Rising Resentment.
Yeah, true. Okay, alright, here we go. This
That's
is just
good.
another 0 cost, go again, 3 power. Okay. I'm not so worried about the Draconic Links anymore.
Yeah.
This seems very straightforward. The problem here is that you're not blocking in order to do all those things, so, you know.
You can use
who
the
wins
previous
race?
card to play this card.
Yeah, true. And then Soaring Strike. Banish attack action card. Okay, this is another thing that does the same thing. Oh, interesting. So this gives whatever you banish go again.
Aha.
That's neat. That's neat. Okay. It still costs the same amount, right? Yeah, you may play it this turn, but you still have to pay for it.
Well, this costs 1.
Yes. But then also the card you play that this banishes, you still have to pay its cost.
Yeah.
Unlike Rising Resentment. But this will give it go again. Okay. Yeah, I don't hate it. I think you can build a cool ninja. The biggest downside I can see with Fae maybe is that I don't know that there's a lot of different ways to build Fae. I think you just may be a Draconic Ninja. And you just go full Draconic.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you build him a different way with, like, some of the combo ninja stuff, like, he just doesn't do anything. He doesn't do any, like, nothing about his ability works without Draconic cards.
We'll have to research it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, so I think there's a way you could build Fae in which you just use, like, all of the best original ninja stuff, and then you just throw in some of the best Draconic stuff that doesn't care about Draconic links.
Right.
Then that's the only advantage he gets, is that he gets to put those Draconic cards in that the others don't.
Yeah. You could make it like a more balanced version of Fae, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, true. It still probably ends up worse than just full Draconic Fae.
It might be. I don't know. We'll have to experiment.
Yeah, we'd have to try it and then see what happens. And then regular Draconic stuff. Oh, cool. Legendary chess piece we don't get.
No, we get it. We just sell it for more common
I
cards.
definitely didn't. True. All right, Draconic chess piece. So this is why none of the class items were chess pieces, because all the Draconics get this. Gain 1. Only if you've played a red card. Interesting. So, the advantage is the artwork looks cool. The other advantage being that this happens at instant speed.
It does.
But you just have to have played a red card. So we can compare this to Blood Drop Brocade.
That's when you've dealt or have been dealt damage,
Yep.
right?
So compare this to Blood Drop Brocade. It does all the same stuff. It does it at instant. The only difference here is you have to play a red card to gain 1. This is just gain 1 if you've dealt or been dealt physical damage this turn. So there's some argument about which one of these is better, on whether you think it's easier to play a red card or if it's easier to deal physical damage. There's some argument there. And so if your deck cares about chain links and the chain, you probably would do this if you think the red card part is easier.
Okay.
If your deck doesn't care about the chain link, the Blossom of Spring just does all this. And we replaced our Blood Drop Brocades with Blossom of Springs, or we said we probably should in the Warrior deck.
Right.
I actually have replaced mine already. But yeah, so this I think Blossom of Spring is better if you don't care about the chain, because it's just very consistent and easy to do it. But if you do care about the chain,
What's Blossom of
you can do
Spring
this.
again?
That's the one that's just in action, and you break it, and you get 1.
Ah, okay.
And I think it has Blade Break, maybe? I forget if it has Blade Break or not. Maybe it doesn't. Blossom of Spring. Yeah. Just destroy it, gain 1.
Okay.
So it's the most consistent one, because you don't need to meet any conditions to crack it. So the only difference is that's an action, this is an instant. So if you do care about it being an instant, the Sash is better. Which the Ninja probably does care.
Right.
Although, again, you could run this, or you could run Fast of the First Fist, which will give you 2 resources if you hit. So,
But that's only if you hit.
I mean, that's true, but it gives you double. So then it's, if you think it's pretty easy to hit, the Vest is going to give you more. So, who knows? A little underwhelming is how I would put it. That's a little underwhelming. This really does have some metal card art.
Yep. That's pretty metal.
Alright. Regular Draconic Commons. This is the stuff that's available to Dromai and Fae. Wait, Breaking Point's a common? I thought that was a rarer card than that. Man, these are a lot of single color cards. Very interesting. I did not expect this. Like these are all reds.
You didn't expect that when they care about reds?
I mean,
more
they
often?
do. Well, Faye doesn't really,
That's
though.
true.
Not anything I saw. Maybe his rarer cards do. I suppose I'm over here like, but Faye doesn't care. Maybe like the actual good Faye cards do care. We just don't get them. Okay.
Are they really good if we don't get them?
Speaking of which, here's a Red Card Matters card that can go into Dromai or Faye.
Mm-hmm.
If you play another red card this turn, gains go again. It's probably slightly better in Faye than Dromai, but I mean, it's not awful in Dromai. You can go like a red card anyways, and then this, and then Dragonstorm.
It's very reminiscent of a magic card called Lava Axe.
Oh, the artwork?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see that. Alright, well then, yep.
If I'm remembering correctly.
The nice thing here is that this does work really well in the Fae, because you can do like some other Draconic attack with going in, and then this can be your chain link too.
Right.
Because it doesn't care about being 3 or higher. Or actually, do any of those things care about being 3 or higher, or do they just care about being 2 or higher? Was I reading them wrong this whole time?
2 chain links.
If you control 2 or more... Oh yeah, so this counts itself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. So Phoenix Flame is the second attack you do. I'm gonna get roasted in the comments for that one. Whoops.
Well, they should have just watched until this point in the video
Yeah, that's true.
before commenting. Gosh.
But yeah, so... Yeah. This is also something that's like 2 or more, but... Alright, Breaking Point, Rupture. What is Rupture? Chainlink 4 or higher? Wait, did we just get Command and Conquer and Commoner? I think we did. Yeah.
Huh.
Oh, dear Lord. Well, yeah, that's...
Is that different?
What?
The color?
Oh, like the circle behind this? Like
Yeah.
this orange or whatever? Yes. I think. Let's find a...
Well, you could have just compared it to the rest in the set. I didn't notice it
Oh.
until just then.
Oh, you're thinking it's different from the rest of the set. All the Draconic ones are like that.
Okay.
Oh, it is different from these. Okay, so that's a unique to Draconic thing? And just generic Draconics, I guess?
I guess.
Oh, I wonder why they did that. Because, I mean, like, the border, I think, is different, too.
Yep.
But, yeah. Interesting. We just got Commoner Command and Conquer. That's sweet. Although it doesn't have Go Again, but I suppose if it has to be Chainlink 4 or higher,
It's probably the end of your
Yep.
turn.
Yep. Yeah, you can play this and even Dromai at that point. I mean, this is only available to Fae and Dromai.
Right.
Fae can do this fairly easily because that's just ninja things.
Yep. 4 attacks.
But Dromai can do this too because you just like the only difference is this isn't how you start your chain, but you start with a red card, you do a bunch of dragon attacks, and then you breaking point. So.
Yep. So you have
Yeah.
3 0-cost attacks, and then you play this.
And I mean, the one nice thing is
Although-
it's a 1 cost for 5 power, so this is going to be a good attack even if they don't have an arsenal.
You
So
have 4 cards in hand. 1 in your arsenal. You'd have to play everything in order to play this.
yeah, but I mean, like this could be something you save your chess piece for, and then you crack it.
That's true.
You like this
That's
far
true.
into the line. You wait for this turn. Also, too, it's easier than you think for this one, I would say, because you could say keep a yellow or better card in your hand, and so you go 0 cost attack, 0 cost attack, and then you pitch the yellow card, pay 1 to bring back Phoenix Flames,
That's
play the
true.
Phoenix Flames, and then you use the 1 remaining to breaking point. But it's not going to be easy to do per se, but like I think something worth mentioning is that like a 1 cost that deals 5 is still decent. Outside of it. There are better cards, like Push the Point is going to do more than this if like, and well, Push the Point is going to do more damage than this, but this will have the upside of blowing up your opponent's arsenal.
Think
which
about
is
it.
just rude.
If you think about it thematically, pushing the point ends up in breaking the point.
You push the point into the breaking point. And then this is the part at which the wizard finally plays the card in their arsenal because they're pissed at you. Actually, it's probably long past that point, so I don't think this affects the wizard quite as much because the wizard, like, when the Frost Wizard plays an ice card from the arsenal, you gain a Frostbite point, or token, and it's a little bit silly to do that 4 chain links in. So they've probably already emptied their arsenal by the time you've played Breaking Point.
Because you've pushed them to the breaking point.
But if you're playing against an archer, you just lost a friend today.
Yeah.
And good luck repairing the wounds that you just did with this card. This card is pretty cool, if I remember. This is one of the cards that I've seen since we last talked. Okay, this banishes Phoenix Flames. That's what this does. But if you do, it's 4 power, 0 cost, gains Go Again. So, kind of sweet. This is good. This is good if you're playing the ninja and you have 2 Phoenix Flames in your graveyard, because this helps you get the chain links necessary to have the boosted Phoenix Flame. And also, too, it's a 0 cost red card, which is kind of sweet in general. You can play this in Dromai, too. You can play Phoenix Flames in Dromai.
Yep.
I don't know that you're necessarily going to, because you can't block with the Phoenix Flame, so it's going to be hard to get them in the graveyard to use this. But Dromai is also the one where she wouldn't care about banishing the Phoenix Flame because it's not coming back. But I love the card art in this set, or this series in general. It is funny that this is that I'm talking about this and like this is really good in Fae. I feel like it because he can get plenty of Phoenix Flames in his graveyard fairly easily, and then the flavor text is Dromai.
I mean, the artwork's Dromai too.
That's true. That's true. But I do feel like it's something that would get used in Fae a lot more. I think you can play this in Dromai. I don't know if it'll make the cut, though. And Flameborn Retribution. Oh, okay. Well, that's a way to get Phoenix Flames back in a Dromai deck.
Okay.
Oh, when you defend with it?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. That's kind of neat. So you block with this card and block 2, and then now you have a Phoenix Flame to still play on your turn.
Otherwise,
Although
it's
it won't
just
do anything if you don't have enough links, but... Okay.
Just a 1 cost 3.
1 cost 3 would go again.
Yeah.
Which is good in Dromai. This is good in Dromai, even if you don't play any Phoenix Flames. You just take that entire paragraph off. This is still a red card with go again to trigger your Dragonstorm. If you play another red card this turn, you may search your deck for a Phoenix Flame, reveal it, put it in your hand, and then shuffle. Okay.
That's a good way to not accidentally...
Yeah. This is better than the card we just looked at.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can just get your Phoenix Flames. And so even in like a Dromai deck, this gives you a Phoenix Flame to trigger your Dromai next turn, or to trigger your Dragons next turn. Because with Dromai, you can play Phoenix Flame for 0 and be like, that's fine. I just turned on all my dragons. So, yeah, okay. I think you could put Phoenix Flame in Dromai. I'm seeing enough now to make that work.
Mm-hmm.
And then this kind of works with Fae, too, in the sense that, like, already it's a go-again Draconic attack, and now it can fetch out your second copy of Phoenix Flames.
Right.
So this, like, sets up one crazy combo turn where you go, like, Chain Link, or you go, like, Draconic attack, this, fetch out your other Phoenix Flame, play your Phoenix Flame, which will now be 2 or higher, so it'll gain +1, and then now you have 3 Chain Links, so get your other Phoenix Flame for free and play it. And if you crack your gloves, those Phoenix Flames will swing for 2.
Ooh.
Better than a Kadachi. Okay, it's another Phoenix Flame from graveyard to hand. Oh, it's 0 cost will go again.
It is. But it only hits for 1.
Oh, these are only reds.
Yes.
There's not other colors
Were
for
you
this.
confused
I
because
was,
of the attack power?
Yes, I was like, wait,
what
does the blue do?
-1, it heals them.
This is pretty sweet, though. I would put this in Dromai, too. This is another red card would go again, and it costs 0. Easy way to trigger Dragonstorm.
Mm-hmm.
I love the idea of Dragonstorm Dromai. I love this idea. Chainlink 4 Hyra has +3. Okay, a 0 cost, 5 damage. I think this one would find fewer homes. You may still play it in Fae. Maybe you run Lava Burst. But it doesn't have go again. So I don't think you play this in Dromai.
But you could.
You could. It's like
It's like
the
pseudo ninja card.
It's the finisher in Dromai, like I was saying Breaking Point was, essentially, where you can just attack with a bunch of dragons and then play this.
Yep.
And this is the end. The end of your turn, but it'll deal a ton of damage. Searing Touch, another Rupture card, a lot of Rupture cards. Attack with this, deal 2 damage to any target. Interesting. That's neat. So that can kill Aether Ashwings.
Mm-hmm.
And it can kill your opponent.
Yep.
I forget how the rules work. Is that arcane damage? Does it have to say arcane damage now?
I think this is non-specified.
We have this. Let's look this up. Searing Touch. It's literally right above.
Oh.
Okay, it does not say. So I guess non-specified. But like, what makes... So here's the problem with these cards now. It's like, what makes Chain Lightning arcane damage? Like, what makes that non-specified? Not that this is in Commoner, but... Well, it'd probably help if I spell it right.
I could have told you, but I didn't.
Oh, wait, I'm thinking the wrong thing. Not Chain Lightning, it's, I think, Lightning Strike. Forked Lightning. Oh, it does say 2 arcane damage, 2 arcane damage. Okay. Oh, they do all say arcane damage. Did they always? Huh. Alright, I lied. Okay.
It's always been arcane damage?
It makes sense. Alright, this is non-specified damage, correct. All right, so Quell will stop it, but that's about it.
Stoke the flames.
Okay, and then this is just if you have a Phoenix Flame, this will gain go again because it'll come back and then.
Okay.
Okay, I can see that. In Ninja, at least. Because in Ninja, this is going to be until you pull your Phoenix Flame out of the graveyard. This will always be something you can give go again. Because you start with one in your graveyard.
Right. You could use this to pull a Phoenix Flame out of Dromai's graveyard.
Yes, but Dromai will have to find a way to get it there. Otherwise, this won't have go again.
Well, she'd just have to hit with it first.
Yeah, but she'll have to draw it first. And then, yeah, Blood of the Drakai. This is really sweet if we got to play with this. It just means the next 3 Draconic cards you play this turn cost 1 less, which most of them cost 1. So, you pitch this to pay for one of them, and then the next 3 are free.
But what about the 0 cost? Does it become -1 and you gain more resources?
I'm pretty sure that's in the rules somewhere that it doesn't do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't think
so we don't get to see the wizard stuff? I thought this has been revealed. Hang on a minute. I think I saw the wizard equipment. I recall seeing the wizard equipment because I recall being pissed. And I think it's been revealed. Yeah, probably shouldn't have just said wizard. Should have done equipment. Because I thought somebody. Yep, somebody did. Oh, this is gloves actually. Wait a minute. We're excited. There was a wizard equipment chest piece. Oh, it's not Ice Wizard. But okay, this is the card that this is one of these two right here. So there is that.
They just hid it from us for some reason.
Conduit of Frostburn. The next card you play this turn with an effect that deals arcane damage gains when this deals arcane damage to a hero, destroy a frozen card in their arsenal. So you have to freeze a card in their arsenal, which is a new mechanic. Actually, I can do this and go to the top because this is where the new mechanics are. Affliction. So there's afflictions which are like auras, except they enter under an opposing hero's control, like Frostbite did. So there's now affliction auras. Okay, and then
I feel like I talked about this before with like.
We may have. I can't remember. Ward is new. New effect keywords. Transform. Wait. Where is? So transform. Freeze. Okay, freeze is a continuous effect. An object under the effect of freeze is considered frozen. A frozen object cannot be played, and its activated abilities cannot be activated until it is no longer frozen. It is recommended that frozen objects should be physically indicated by the use of a counter or token. If the effect unfreeze applies to an object, the object is no longer frozen and freeze effect ends. Yeah, and then so like there's a ice equipment head piece, which apparently we'll be seeing later. Choose a hero, freeze up to 1 card in their arsenal, and 1 ally they control until the start of your next turn. So most of the stuff I've seen freeze on does have a time baked into it. But you can freeze something like this and then blow it up. And then this also has Quell. In theory, you can use both of these sides, and this one is more along the side of like Dromai, where you could actually use this in the same turn. Because you do freeze something from when you cast the thing that freezes it until the start of your next turn. So in theory, it's still frozen on your opponent's turn, so you can Quell and then blow it up. So that's sweet. Maybe I should also look at weapons instead of just equipment, because I have a feeling that... Oh, nope. Okay, so I assume that's what's missing here, is that there's also a frost weapon we haven't seen. And I won't look at the other chest piece that was there, because I know that's coming up further on, and I was pissed because it is a generic wizard piece of equipment, and what do they give us? A chest piece, which is what we already had.
Of course.
Although the other chest piece was pretty crap, so, you know, is it that big of a loss?
We heard you didn't like our chest piece, so we made it better.
I think they did, actually, though, is the funny part. Alright, so we have a couple of things here. Brain Freeze, does that have Storm and mill your opponent a bunch, like it does in Magic? Okay, so that's the... Oh, what is this? Elemental Wizard. Okay, this isn't even Ice. Ice is... Ice is later. Oh, Conduit of Frostburn was here.
See,
So
you jumped the gun.
Who knows what these are?
Jumped the gun.
Who knows what those are then?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so these are just Elemental Wizard, which is still just Islander.
Islander?
As it turns out, I was totally wrong, and I have been pronouncing this wrong.
I told you it's an I.
That is an I. It is Islander or Icelander. Some people have said that they think it's pronounced Icelander because
why not Islander? Let's just take it all the way.
So I saw a Reddit post about this where there's like this huge debate going down it on the Flesh and Blood Reddit about how it's pronounced, and they were saying, is it Islander or Icelander? They didn't even think about Islander, which I think, grammatically speaking, Islander is probably correct.
Because it's a Y instead of an I?
But a lot of people are saying that they think it's Icelander because apparently LSS loves their... yes. Because, for example, the new merchant was Janice Whatchanid. And, yeah. I forget what the other examples were. There's so like Bravo is like the super debutante guardian guy who's just like, if you've seen all of his artworks, he's always boasting and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Like that, and that's Bravo. I can't think of anything for Kano or like Viserai, but Dash with boosting.
She's fast.
Yeah. So there's a lot of them that have things like this. So I could see it, but I feel like Islander is the correct way to pronounce it.
Yeah,
But
I'll stick with Islander.
Okay. All right.
Because I think it's funnier.
Fair enough. Okay, so here's an Ice Fusion wizard action. Deal 5 arcane damage to any target, and if it was fused, it deals damage to a hero. They discard a card unless they pay 2. So that's kind of cool. It kind of combines some of the ice cards that make you discard cards, like those effects, with this attack. I realized though I didn't actually open Islander because we've talked about her in the past, but back then we didn't think we would get to play her. And on reflection, it probably makes more sense to look at the blue cards than the red. And that's because looking at Islander, Essence of Ice, you can put ice cards in your deck. It's an elemental wizard, and if it's not your turn, you may play blue non-attack action cards from your arsenal as though they were an instant.
Yep.
And then, if you ever play an ice card during an opponent's turn, you create a frostbite token under their control. Which doesn't say that the ice card has to be played from your arsenal, so if you have ice instants, those will work.
Okay.
If you have an ice non-attack action card you play from your arsenal, that will work too. 4 cards in hand. This is the first one that has a different stat, though, 18 health as opposed to 20. Because all the wizards have lower health.
Because she's fragile.
Yeah, except less fragile than Kano, though.
Yep.
Which is, that will be nice, having 3 extra health. So
because ice is less fragile than fire.
True.
Is it?
No. But, so if you have the blue Aether Ice Vein, this is 3. It costs 3, but it'll deal 3 arcane damage, which is not awful. And if you fuse it, it'll have the discard a card unless they pay 2. Mm-hmm. So it's the same pay 2 for the discard. It's just the arcane damage goes down. Alright, and then red Brain Freeze.
Brain Freeze.
Ice Fusion. 0 cost wizard
Make
action.
your enemy drink a Slurpee.
And if it was fused, you could put an action card with cost 2 or less from their hand on top of their deck. That's disgusting.
I guess Icy would be more on brand.
Yeah. Now, the problem with this is that you're pretty much only playing this on your turn.
Yes.
Because the blue one is cost 0 or less, which will be good against a very select number of heroes, I feel. But it blocks for 3. That's nice. It costs 0. That's the one nice thing. So it is something you could definitely play on your turn. And I feel like Islander is more likely to play things on the opponent's turn because there's already like benefit stuff where it's like if you have an ice card in your arsenal, that's only going to create a frostbite token, I think, if it's played on their turn, right? I read that right? Whenever you play an ice card during an opponent's turn, create a frostbite token. Yep. So you're already incentivized to play ice cards on your opponent's turn. So you could always just, for your turn, Brain Freeze, and then play the rest of your cards on your opponent's turn. So I could see you running like red ones too.
Ice Bind.
Ice Bind, deal 3 arcane damage to any target, and if it was fused, when it deals damage to a hero, freeze a card in their arsenal until the start of your next turn. So this is where we start to see the freeze in commoner.
Yep.
So
you
the
Ice
one will only
Bind,
do
and
one
then later
damage,
you
though.
blow it up.
Yeah. And the problem is that for the blue one, which we can play on their turn, I think it only deals 1 arcane damage, so a single instance of Arcane Barrier will prevent that damage and the freezing. Cost 0, though, which is nice. And in theory, you can use Crucible of Aetherweave with Islander, so you can always pump this and make it deal 2. But that's still usually pretty easy to absorb. Yeah, so there's that, and then Polar Cap, deal 4 arcane damage to any target, and if it was fused and deals damage, create a Frostbite token. So blue one will deal 2, that's not too bad.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you probably do still run, you probably don't run all blues, even though you can only play blues on the opponent's turn. Like, you still probably run things like the red damage spells, and you just do a ton of damage
you play
with that.
the reds on your turn, and then play
blues
the blues
on
on their turn.
Yep. Alright, well, that was the elemental stuff, and now we get to the ice stuff, which we already talked about the conduit. I love this. Oh, I absolutely love this. This is so disgusting.
You're looking at all the blue ones now?
I'm looking at both. Oh my
Okay.
man, these cards are ridiculous. That's 4 arcane damage for 1 cost.
Yep.
Which I think is what's the name of it? Let's just look at the wizard. The wizard non-attack action cards common. I think this is Scalding Rain. Yes. So it's Scalding Rain. Already card. So now we have 2 copies of Scalding Rain, one cost for 4 points of arcane damage. The difference is Scalding Rain was a really playable arcane damage spell. It's like one of the most efficient ones.
Okay.
And they just printed it, but made it ice. So this helps you fuse all of your ice fusing cards while just being an incredibly well-statted and costed arcane damage source. And all of these cards that we're about to look at are exactly that.
Okay.
And that's disgusting. So you can run both and just be like a high damage wizard thing, or you can just replace, instead of playing the Scalding Rains and Voltic Bolts that you would have played before, you can now just play their ice equivalent and just be like, hey, it's very easy for me to fuse my cards now because I already want to play these cards. And even the blue one is 2 arcane damage, which is not bad.
Yep.
There's one that's far more relevant for that coming up. I love this. It's basically Zap. So there's Zap, which is 0 cost, deal 3.
Okay.
And this is that, but ice. So 0 cost, 3 arcane damage. That's nuts. Although that is the red one. Blue one is only 1, which is not as nuts, but it pitches for 3. So most wizard decks play red Zap, blue Zap. You're probably still going to do the same here. And then Ice Bolt. This is the Voltic Bolt, which is the best commoner wizard attack.
You could play the blue one on their turn, though, right?
Yes, you can play the blue one on their turn.
So you'd waste one of their resources, so they can't do stuff.
That's true. And also, too, with the blue one, since these are ice cards, if you play these on your opponent's turn, they get Frostbite.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is Voltic Bolt, because Voltic Bolt is the best costed commoner wizard attack. It's actually one of the best wizard attacks outside of commoner, too. There's only a few that are better, like Fork Lightning. But it's 2 for 5 arcane damage, and that's what Ice Bolt is. 2 for 5 arcane damage.
Okay.
Blocks 3. So same stat lines across the board. They're just ice cards. And the blue one costs 2, but deals 3 arcane damage, and you can play that on your opponent's turn. So this is an auto include into every Islander deck. 100%. Not that I'm going to be building Islander. And then these are just regular ice cards, so these get to be used by all ice heroes. So Oldhim and Lexi get these as well.
Okay.
So let's see, get down to the commons. Okay, those were rare. So commons and commons. Not a ton, but Glacial Horns, new common ice equipment head. What was the last chess piece?
Yes, it was a chess piece that gave a Frostbite token.
Yep. Okay, so now you can destroy this hat and freeze up to 1 card in an arsenal and 1 ally until the start of your next turn.
And 1 Ally? Oh, ally they control.
Yes. Yep. So it's good against Dromai for that.
Yeah.
It's not overwhelming. You probably don't play this in Oldhim. I definitely don't think you play it in Lexi. I think Honing Hood's a lot better. And maybe I'm wrong. Like, I guess if you have like a heavy Dromai thing where you can get both sides of this, maybe you do. But I think you can run this in the Wizard because the Wizard just has Hope Merchant's Hood and Talismanic Lens. And unlike Kano, Islander doesn't really care about Talismanic Lens.
Right.
Because opting's not as important when I'm not playing things off the top of my deck. So I could see her playing it. It's very underwhelming. I guess like in theory still you would use Hope Merchant's Hood as the better.
They just didn't want to give wizards more equipment.
Although actually maybe you do use this in the Wizard because if you're using the conduit gloves, this lets you free something so you can blow it up. So maybe it can outweigh the Hope Merchant's Hood.
I could see it
on that aspect.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't have it, like it's entirely defensive, but I mean, I guess if you're building Control Ice Wizard, maybe that's fine. But what horrible human being would possibly make Ice Wizard control? I'm so excited. This is sweet. This is just sweet. It doesn't have Go again, but like
right.
Wizards just used to dealing with that, so
Wasn't there another one that did this? 3 Frostbite?
I think it's if it hits. I think it gives your next attack a hit thing that does that. Let's just reset this. Common ice. Because I think it's like chill to the bone. Next time an ice or elemental thing hits, create 3 frostbite.
Okay. So
Whereas this just creates it.
Yep.
But that had Go again. And same cost. And same block value.
Yep. Okay.
And then you can always put the blue one in your arsenal and play it for free, and then you'll create 2 frostbite tokens off of it. One for the blue, and then one for playing an ice card on your opponent's turn.
So this could be another card to go into our Lexi deck.
That's true. That's true. You could put that in the Lexi deck. Or the Oldhim deck. Oldhim would love this,
Yeah,
too.
but who cares about Oldhim?
Except Oldhim's already kind of like an on-hit thing, so, like, Chill to the Bone's not a bad thing to begin with. And this is another thing that freezes. Oh, and that's the nice part, too. If you play it from your arsenal, you draw a card.
Aha.
So, blue one in the arsenal, play it on your opponent's turn. You have to pay 1 or you freeze a card in their arsenal. And then you get to draw a card anyways. And that's like pseudo Frostbite, because now they have to pay 1 or lose a card.
Yep.
So, it's less resources to do the rest of their turn. So this one is actually like just like a really good card. Alright, and then regular Illusionist stuff. There's Illusionist gloves, which even more, I guess. Those are legendary though, so we don't get to talk about those.
I thought so.
That is Illusionist legs. Oh wait, get excited.
Oh,
Prism can use that, and then
so
that's it. That's the only thing we get for generic Illusionist. The boots. Whenever an attacking ally you control... Oh, son of a... Whenever an attacking ally you control dies, or an attack action card you control... Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I was... The sadness hit before I read further. Or an attack you control is destroyed by Phantasm. You may pay 3. If you do, destroy it and gain 1 action point. So, yeah, this does just automatically replace the boots and Prism. Because I'm currently using Time Skippers.
Yep.
Time Skippers is pay 3 to gain 2 action points. And this is just... I mean, like... okay, it's not 100% the same. But, like... If you've already managed to give something Go again, this protects it in a way, which is nice. And it has Arcane Barrier, so I probably had Null Rune Boots in my Prism deck, so this just automatically replaces Null Rune Boots.
Yep.
There's no reason to use one over the other.
So you'll never have to switch between the two.
Yeah.
Which they probably thought about that.
Yes, that is probably the reason behind this. And then, yeah, if an attacking ally you control dies. This is going to be very hard. This is brutal for the Dromai deck when you're, like, all red cards.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, sweet. And then everything else is rares or higher, so
Money.
don't look at those. Oh, ninja boots. This could be very neat. This could be very interesting, depending on what they do.
Okay.
I mean, so here's the thing. It does immediately... This goes into all of our ninja decks right away. Because what do we have? Snapdragon Scalers.
Yeah.
And this does Snapdragon Scalers Plus. It's a strictly better Snapdragon Scalers. Not as relevant, but there are some. Open the center.
Right, because it does what Snapdragon Scalers does, and it also has Arcane.
Yeah, true. It also has Arcane Barrier. Man, this is just brutal to play Wizard into Ninja now, because like you can also bring the Arcane Lantern if you're like the Kadachi ninjas. So now you have boots that you would already run that have Arcane Barrier. You have replacing one of your Kadachis with an Arcane Lantern, which is one less damage for now another source of Arcane Barrier. And then you already had like a head piece that didn't do much. So you can replace that too, and you have 3 Arcane Barrier right there. That's gross. Tide Flippers, that's the name.
Yeah, it's a weird name.
And then Generic Wizard has a lot more. That is funny. Oh, okay, here's the weapon. Oh, and a legendary chess piece? I actually want to look at that just to cry. And see if it needs to go into my Kano deck. Okay.
Don't tell me you're running something other than Commoner.
I don't play
How
that.
could you?
I don't play it, is the funny part, but I have the deck. The first time it prevents arcane damage each turn, if it has less than 4 energy counter, you may put an energy counter on it. The next staff ability costs 3 less, so it just makes your staff free and has Arcane Barrier already.
This means a lot to me.
Okay. Here's the staff. Okay, if you use it on your opponent's turn... Okay. So this is how the wizard works. It just staffs your opponent to death.
Yep.
That's the one condition. You just slow them down, and every turn you make sure you're playing some sort of non-attack action card on your opponent's turn. And then you can Waning Moon for 3.
But do you know what this means?
What?
You can't use the Arcane Lantern.
I mean, that is true. That is true. There's still no one-handed weapons for Wizard. Not even the Aether Conduit, the little, like, scepter thing. That's two-handed. Yeah. It's because they have no muscle.
Like holding
so they have to hold it with 2 hands.
It's like holding a wooden spoon with 2 hands.
Yeah, exactly. But this is sweet.
Because you can.
Does this go into can now? Does this replace Aether Conduit? That's the best question. Oh, wait, hang on. So, if it's not your turn... Okay, but that means at any point you can't use the staff unless you play a non-attack action card. Okay. But it is an instant, not an action, so it's not too bad. You probably could replace Aether Conduit with this in every deck. So the Kano deck I just built probably replaces this Aether Conduit. I guess I probably should have reset first, shouldn't I have? Let's try that again. Yeah, once per turn action, cost 2, deal 2. So this is just better, except for you have to play some non-attack action.
Right.
So like in theory, if you get to the late game where you're having to block with all your cards, you're gonna wish you had an Aether Conduit, but
this is like you could play this on your opponent's turn.
Yes.
Essentially.
Yep. And if you do, it'll deal more damage.
Yep.
And if you just play it on your turn and you do some sort of non-attack action card, Waning Moon, you're going to do the same amount of damage as the Conduit for the same cost. So you're probably not putting Conduit into many more decks. And then Spellfire Cloak.
Okay.
Gain 1. Activate this ability only during your opponent's turn. The saddest part here is this just killed your Blood Drop Brocade Dreams.
Yep.
Because this requires far less. You can actually block and still... and then this has Arcane Barrier.
It's the thought that counts.
Yeah. And this is also why it probably replaces Robe of Rapture, the previous Wizard generic one, is because Robe of Rapture has Arcane Barrier like this does. But the heck is... Oh, that's something coming up soon. Okay. This is what for an action, destroy it and gain 3 resources. That's an action though.
Right.
It does not have go again. So, yep. You could flip your Cano off of it.
Yep.
But this is probably a little more
Instant
consistent,
speed.
easy to use.
Yeah.
In theory. I mean, 3 is kind of important, but like, for example, you can never use this on your opponent's turn. So Cano can't use this to start flipping on the opponent's turn, whereas Cano can use this for some amount of flipping on its turn. Like, it's not enough to pay for it by itself, but
Right.
like, pitch a blue, flip the card, then use this to pay for the card, that kind of thing. Cano can do. So this probably does just replace Robe of Rapture in every Wizard deck, although Cano probably still runs Deep Blue as its first choice for gaining 3 resources. Aether Dart. They printed another Zap just because?
Because why not?
I guess. It literally does what Zap does, and there's all 3 colors again. So you just have more Zaps. I mean, I guess it's kind of nice because you can block. This allows you to block more with Wizard because you can block and then just zap them on your turn over and over again until hopefully they die. And hopefully that happens before you die.
Zap, zap, zap. Aether Dart, zap.
And then what is this? Beginning of your end phase, destroy, read the ripples. Op 1, Op 1, Op 1, and draw a card.
Okay.
It's the most complicated wording, but it actually is a good card in Wizard. I don't know how, why, when I would put this in. But like for Cano, for example, you can opt 1, and so if you put it to the bottom, like if you opt 3, you look at 3 cards, and...
So if it's something you've opt and you like, you just keep looking at it?
That's true. Yeah, actually, why isn't it opt 3 here? Oh, I guess this is a nerfed version of Op 3.
Right.
Because Op 3 will tell you all 3 options, and you can put the best one on top. Whereas this one is like, you look at the one, and then you might, like, maybe card 2 or 3 is the best possible card, but you see the one, and you're like, oh, that's pretty good. I can't really bottom that, can I? And then you fooled yourself.
And then you can only bottom them in that order
Yeah.
as well.
And then you're going to draw whatever you leave on top.
Yep.
It's still not awful, though, because it's a 0 cost.
Yeah. It's
But-
just odd.
It's odd that they thought Op 3 would be too powerful. That's the odd part. Well, yeah, but I was going to say they did it, but it doesn't make sense. So presumably the yellow is Opt 1, and draw, and blue is Opt 1, draw. But you still could have just done Opt 3, Opt 2, Opt 1. So I don't know. I don't know why they thought it would be too strong, but I guess.
Too strong.
Interesting, to say the least. Deal 1 arcane damage. Oh! We got board wipes.
Nice.
Presumably, this is going to do less ones for each, or like less targets. Like the blue will be 1 and 1 ally. I don't think you can use Arcane Barrier to protect allies, so the good news is this 1 damage will probably go through to the Aether Wings.
Does Phoenix Flame count as an ally since it's a token?
No.
Okay.
No, it's just the, Actually, let me look up a couple of things here. Effects that modify arcane damage. Modifies the damage dealt to all targets by Singe. The ally targets are optional. You may choose to deal damage to allies, to 0 allies the hero controls. Okay. Good to know. Now, where is Aether Ashwing? Ash? Aether Ashwing. Arcane Barrier. If there is a card I use that is dealing damage to your hero and an Ashwing you control, you still use the Ashwing's Arcane Barrier to prevent the damage to your hero. But it only prevents it to your hero.
Right.
So,
Okay.
yeah, Singe will kill all the Aether Wings.
And it does say Draconic ally, so the Phoenix Flame is not an ally because it doesn't say that.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, so Singe is a good way to just clear the Dromai board. So
Okay.
you may run the red, which is a little unfortunate because outside of Dromai, the red's going to be the worst one because it's only going to deal 1 arcane damage to their hero. But I feel like if you're going to run any number of Singes, you would run the red because you need to do like wide clearing.
Anti-Dragon Storm.
Yeah, anti-Dragon Storm. All right, and now we get to generics. So first things first, we get generics.
Whoa.
I know, it's been so long since we've gotten generics.
How many?
And there is a common printing of this, so it's not just token. Good to note right off the bat. Yeah, unlike Spell Void, the really, really terrible Spell Void, or Spell Fray equipment, these are commons. This one doesn't have Quell on it, though. Prevent the 1 next damage that would be dealt to your hero this turn by any source. And then you just write at the beginning of your end phase.
Okay.
Oh wait, this is Quell. It just costs more. It just costs twice, but it does say prevent the next 1 damage that would be dealt to your hero this turn by a source of your choice. But
okay.
You can still keep activating it. Just costs more. Because you destroy it at the end phase. Very weird way that they made this and worded it. I don't know why they did it that way. Because it's literally Quell, it just costs twice.
Yeah, that's odd.
But then there is this Quell, and obviously it's meant to go with it. Because the other quelling things are everything except a hat. So why did they make the hat worse? What? Why? I'm so confused. Quell's not that broken. This probably does not instantly replace all of your Arcane Barrier equipment. Like
Wait, can you go back to the hat? So the wording is slightly different. It says prevent the next 1 damage that would be dealt to your hero, whereas the other one
by
says
your choice.
If you're going to be damaged. I don't know if it's what the difference is, but
you know what? Actually, Helios Mitra is better. So with Quell, you can deal 3 damage to me, and I can only prevent 1 of that 3 damage.
Okay.
But
right,
if you do damage to me again, I can use Quell again. I can use Quell throughout the whole turn until the end phase. Mm-hmm. It just only prevents 1 from each source. Whereas this prevents the next 1. Okay. So you can use it to prevent 3 from a single source.
You just have to pay 6.
Yes. But that is why they made it cost 2.
Okay.
Also, one other thing too, and this is probably, I forgot about it, and I would have remembered if I didn't open that version of it. I should have opened the token version of it. In Limited, everyone has this app. You can just add 1 to your card pool. So, if you're playing Limited Uprising, everyone has a Helios Mitra. If they don't have, like, another hat that they'd rather use.
Okay.
So, it's just a free hat. I don't know why they did it, but yes.
That is odd.
That's why this one is a token, and then it's only common for the cold foil.
Okay.
But then, yeah, there's just quelling equipment. All of these have Quell 1.
Okay.
They probably don't replace Null Rune, because where you really need it, you kind of want to be able to do that multiple turns. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Absorb some this turn, then some the next turn, but it's better than Runaways. So anyone who is using Runaways now uses Quelling Slippers.
Yep.
So I just want all of us to picture old him wearing these slippers, because that is where I have a copy of Runaways. All right. Do we have more comments? We do. Yes, finally. They reprinted Scar for a Scar.
Interesting.
That's neat. Well, I guess we don't really have to talk about that one. We've seen that many a times. Oh, interesting. Okay, there's some interesting things here.
They've reprinted Cracked Bobble. Oh my god.
I think the artwork's the same as Monarchs.
Well,
see,
it might have more
over
cracks.
Some of the sets, they were getting more and more cracked, but this one looks very similar to Tails.
And I mean, it's not as interesting as the Titanium Bobble.
Yeah.
Obviously.
You mean the commoner Fabled card?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I do need I need the answer. I need the answer to this for my brain's sake. Oh, unless first edition looks different. Let's click on first edition. It's lagging like crazy. Anyways. Okay. Brothers in Arms. Hey, look, we have another 6 power attack. That's generic.
Okay.
Cost 2. Oh. Pseudo Rally the Rear Guard. In some ways, it's better than Rally the Rear Guard.
Can you keep paying it? No, because it's when you defend.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, when you defend with it, you can pay 1, and if you do, it gains +2. So it's 1 it blocks for 1 less than Rally the Rear Guard.
Yeah.
But you don't lose the card. because whatever you pitch to this will go back into your deck.
True.
So it's kind of better Rally the Rearguard. Sort of. They both have their upsides. Rally blocks for more, but you lose the card. This blocks for less, but you keep the card.
I mean, I guess it depends on how you're playing. If you play to discard, then...
Yeah. But, like, in theory, for Brute, this is probably better than Rally the Rearguard.
Right.
Although you might just still run both. I mean, I think there is a world for that now.
Yep.
Now that we know so few things block.
Get rid of some yellow cards.
So, yeah. I don't hate this. No, let's just really quick. No, it's actually loaded. Go down to the bottom. Cracked bobble. We're going to compare. The same art.
Yep.
Lame.
It's only slightly shifted.
Wow, that is a whole novel, and it's for vanilla
Flavor
card.
text.
It's all flavor text.
There is no mercy on the battlefield. It's brothers against sisters and blood against blood. For resentment breeds betrayal, as anger leads to rage and fear to hate. This is endless feud. From whence did it arise, and when will it see an end?
It's so close to being Brute playable, too. Like, imagine if it did 6, this card would be insane.
Yep.
It would be the cheapest 6 power attack for Brute.
I think there's some 0.
They all require you to discard a card.
Oh, that's true.
So close, but instead it's just 5 for 1.
Yep.
Which I don't think is awful, but I also think will not make the cut in any deck. I think there are just better
I
alternatives.
don't know where you would put this.
Oh, limited. This is Draft Chaff. Trade in. What is this? You may discard a card if you do draw a card. If it's played from your arsenal, it gains go again.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a card.
There's some other cards like this too. Like, this is probably better than Frontline Spy. Like, Frontline Spy does all of this, except you look at your opponent's hand.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do anything with it. You can just see what's in their hand. But it's 3 for 0, and if you play it from your arsenal, it gains go again. So that's pretty much irrelevant. But if you are building Cavdane, and only Cavdane, you may play this card. Possibly.
I mean, it makes sense. It feels merchant-esque.
Well, I'm just thinking that the only way to build Cavdane and play him like in a competitive way is that you are just building Budget Briar. You're just building Briar without the elemental stuff and the Runeblade stuff.
Right.
Like, I think that's just the best way. I don't think there's a better way to build him. I haven't actually looked into it, but I feel like that's the best way to build him. And you may need a card like this just to fill the spaces. Because you would want red stripes so you're not ruining your Ravenous Rabbles. So, yep. That's about the only use I see for that, though. This is interesting. This is,
Okay.
So, a little more life gain. 0 cost, generic action. It doesn't have go again. So it's pretty much like a wizard card at this point.
Play this, end your turn.
Yep. Which I guess means it's probably worse than this card. Because this is an instant, isn't it? Yes. But this is a rare, and we don't get this.
Yep.
So, I was thinking they just, like, reprinted it at common. It was basically like a rarity shift, but not really, because it's an action. That's rough. If it wasn't an action, this would be way more interesting, but there's still not really any life gain matters decks yet, so.
Except for that one sickle, right?
Well, that's the hate for life gain matters, because it prevents you from gaining life.
You're right.
But there's nothing where gaining life is beneficial to you.
Yes, that's correct.
So
I mean, you can overheal though, right?
you can. So you can go up on health, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know necessarily if that would work out well for you, but generic action aura gives you ward 4.
Okay.
And at the beginning of your action phase, you have to destroy it. So you play it on one turn, and it breaks the next turn. Also doesn't have go again.
Yep. No.
So that was your turn. You played this.
I thought this was good, and I thought that the second half was just flavor text, and then nope.
I was very excited for this because I thought it was going to have go again, and I was going to be like, oh, I could see this being good in like a Runeblade or something like that. And then it was like, oh, but there is no go again. And it only lasts one turn. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they gave us generic comments. They just all suck. Okay, this is the most interesting card out of all of them. So you pay 1, you prevent the next 4 damage that would be dealt to target hero this turn by a source of your choice, and if that hero has less health than each other hero, they gain 1. So, here's where this is kind of neat. It's 1 for block 4, which is a little bit rough because like you normally can block 4 for 0 with defense reactions.
Mm-hmm.
But this will heal you on top of it, in theory.
Yes.
So I could see some places where you run this.
Block 4, gain 1.
As someone who wants to play Ultimate Pitfighter, I love this card. Because you can save other people with this. And I love the politics.
Okay. Yeah,
and you can heal them. So, as someone who's built Cavdane and Ultimate Pitfighter as a group hug deck, this is an exciting card for me. This is one I would absolutely put in group hug Cavdane. And just be like, the politics. It's like putting Blinding Beam in any of your light hero decks, just so you can be like, well, I'll save you if you kill that guy next turn. So, yeah, that's the generics, and that is the end of the Uprising cards that we're no longer on here. But that's Uprising. Definitely interesting.
It is.
A lot of cool new keywords and stuff.
There's a possibility of being a couple more cards that we
Yes, that's true. There was a
might
few.
not have seen, but that's just because they're slow.
And
we're too fast.
True. By doing this 3 days before the release.
Yep. Not to date it or
and
anything.
they may be like, these look like they're going to be tokens.
Probably.
Based on where they're at. And then the other stuff, what else do we have here that was unknowns?
The Ice Mage.
Here, also looks like it'll be a token, possibly Phoenix Flame.
Yep.
Maybe it's a cold foil Phoenix Flame printed at common, which would solve all of our problems. These, if we look at all the other ones, will be a common piece of equipment and a common weapon.
Yes.
However, we found a common generic wizard and a common ice wizard equipment. So chances are these may actually be Majestics or Legendaries. And that they won't matter to us.
Or it could be dual wielding weapons.
True.
Wizards.
Wouldn't that be exciting?
Double wooden spoons.
Then nothing's missing here. Nothing's missing here. Nothing's missing here. Nothing's missing here. Maybe those are like Marvels.
Dual wielding wands.
Maybe those are like fancy foil Marvel versions or something like
be.
that, where it's like extended artwork or something, and they didn't want to spoil it before you open the box. I don't know. I'm really confused with the wizard one. That one I'm not. Oh, you know what? I wonder if that's what it is. I wonder if it's Marvels, because I think there is a Marvel version, which is like a cold foil, usually extended artwork. I think there is a Marvel version of her original printing in this.
Okay.
Like the Everfest artwork. I think there is that in here, and we haven't seen it. So I bet that's what one of these is. Based on where it's at. It's probably like here, and then that's the Marvel one.
Okay.
And then maybe this is one of these things.
Oh.
Or a legendary weapon. And then maybe this is a Marvel version of Phoenix one. That would be a little unfortunate, though, because if it is a Marvel one, it's not going to be common. It's going to be the triangle, probably. Which means the questions get to continue to be asked. But either way, I am very excited for Uprising. I am very excited for two different things. I'm definitely excited about Control Ice Wizard and seeing if it's even possible.
Oh boy.
And then Dragonstorm. Dragonstorm sounds like so much fun. And then I think the Ninja is actually just good. Like, I think it's good for all the reasons previous Ninjas are. It just doesn't care about combo. So it's just probably more consistent.
It's a new way to do similar things.
Yep. That's a good way to look at it. Yeah. So that's Uprising. So let us know what you think of the cards, and if we're misreading some of these things, if you think Faye is not going to get any Phoenix Flames at all, and boo earns for him. And leave a comment below, like the video, and subscribe for more commoner content. Uprise.